New Norcia is a fascinating place. It's got a very important part in WA history, and it is a place where lots of things have happened. It's over time, and I'm very happy to talk about it. And when we get time, I'd love to take questions as well. Okay? So now we can move on. I can brace myself.
Tell us your name, please.
Oh, sorry, I know my name. I don't see any point. Sorry about that. My name is Sue.
Hi, Sue.
Hi, yeah, good to be. I'm sorry about that. I'm starting to forget a lot of things, but I remember my name. Okay. Now coming up, this is one of our older buildings, built in the 1920s. It was built as a place of accommodation because by then there were a lot more travellers travelling north from Perth. Now, it used to be a 5-day walk when the first white people came to live here, 5-day walk to Perth. Now it has got down to only being 1 day. This is amazing that now it's a 2-hour drive. It looks very grand. It was not very grand. We'll go down now. I would like to give you a little bit of history as we're driving along, because the history here obviously starts many thousands of years ago with the indigenous people who were here. Now they are part of the Noongar group. You will know that maybe the Noongars are all over the southwest. The group of who were up here were called the Yuak, still part of the Noongars, but this was their own particular territory. And for all we know, they've been here 50 to 60,000 years. So guess what? They know the place pretty well. I'm okay so far, yes, but thank you, I appreciate that. Now the Yuak people lived their traditional life, developing their own culture and language and customs until the 1800s. Less than 20 years after Perth was founded in 1829, a group of Spanish monks came up here to be missionaries. Now these young Spanish monks, quite frankly, didn't have a clue. They had no idea that Australia was a dry, hot, waterless place. They had no idea about living in an English settlement at all. They really didn't have a clue. Fortunately, when they came here, the indigenous people were very welcoming to them and helped them find where the water was, and they had a wonderful relationship. Now, the story of New Norcia isn't always good. Good bits, bad bits. A bit like a family story. However, the good bit is in the 1800s when the few monks that were here, led by a man called Salvador, had this wonderful friendship, cooperation, collaboration with the local indigenous people. Okay? Right. Oh, hang on for green light here. Since the 1840s have been this group of Spanish monks. Now they follow the rule of Saint Benedict. They call themselves Benedictines. And one thing about the Benedictines is when they settle in a place, they're pretty darn hard to move. They actually take a vow of stability. So they've been here since 1846. And they have affected the place in different ways, which I will be telling you about. Now, this is like rowing a boat, isn't it? Going backwards. Some idea of just how old they are. Now, as we turn the corner, we will be going on your left, on your right, we'll be going past a long white building, which is where the monks currently live. Now, where monks live is called a monastery. And so that is the home for the 6 monks we currently have. This end of the monastery is where they have a guest house, which is a very popular place for people to come and stay, particularly if they want some quiet time. So the guest house is usually full, except at this time of the year when people think it's a bit too hot. Now, the monastery is like anybody's house. It isn't what it started out. It had bits tacked on and bits taken off. So the guest house which we're passing now is the new bit. This was put up in the 1980s. So you can see how old it is if the 1980s are the new bits. Because it gets very hot here, they live a very regular life, and this sort of breaks the monotony. So we don't have that many. They use local materials, they use whatever they could get their hands on, and if they couldn't get their hands on it, they didn't have it. So for instance, I look at the windows here and I think, well, it's a Spanish church. Where's the stained glass? There's hardly any stained glass. Then I realised that none of the monks knew how to make stained glass. So they didn't have it. Simple as that. You have what you can afford and what you can do. So that's the basic thing. Now, when there's a few more people in, I'll tell you about the pictures around the walls. So the pictures we have around the walls here, he's understood. He actually died in Rome. This is why he got such a fancy tomb. But people here said, we want him here. So brought him back, and brought back the tomb. You can see don't drop it. Finds the back. Yeah, so you can see your bus directly over there. The hole in the fence is at the end. It's amazing, I mean. Okay, can you just shut the door?
Yeah.
The big one that was straight ahead, that was the fancy one for the fee-paying white kids. Okay, now we're going round, this is where you see the impact of the storm with the scaffolding around the building. I'm not sure when it's going to be repaired, but of course safety of everyone is important. On that side is our first mill, and next to that was the first police station. They're both 1800s buildings. Now on your left side coming up is our new flour mill. This was put up in 1879. And this was a pretty impressive outfit because it had steam-powered mill, and it provided a lot of ground flour for a lot of the region. It was used until 1991, which is when the boarding schools closed. I have to say its main use in the 20th century was feeding all those hungry teenagers. Because what you know about them is they're always hungry, so they ate a huge amount of bread. Now on your left now, that huge building, that is where you'll be having lunch. That was the boys' fee-paying boarding school. And as we turn the corner, straight ahead are the buildings that were the handball courts. Now I can tell you handball, which is like squash without a racket, handball was very, very popular. And pretty competitive, I believe. Pretty much to the death, the boys used to tell me. So the handball was important. This side was where they used to have their pool tables and so on. So pleased to know that's the cook's car there, so there will be lunch. Now as we turn the corner, see the amazing frontage on this. This is a huge building. And in the 1950s there were over 200 boys here boarding. So you will be walking up those steps, and straight ahead in there is their chapel, but as you go through the doors you will be asked to go right into the dining room. Okay? So we'll just clean, and the cemetery became the go-to place where they would figure out where they would meet the girls. Didn't happen as much as they thought, but it happened more than the authorities wanted. Yeah. So a lot of monks buried up there, nuns, local people, and quite a big Aboriginal group up there as well. Now straight ahead of us is the girls' fee-paying boarding school. They eventually got some classrooms, very ugly ones, but they got them for free from the government, so they didn't complain. But the girls' school was very, very full as well. If you, as we drive past, see how they've had to put glass on the balconies and the verandas. That's because there were so many kids that they had to do that extra bedrooms and classrooms. Now we'll be going in here. Then you will be going back to the museum, and from there you'll be going on the bus for your lunch. Lesmes painted the dome. Brother Salvador painted the patterns on the ceiling. So Father Lesmes did the paintings around the side. But look at the beautiful wood carving in the altar rails, even the pews here, all done by the woodworker who did some just beautiful stuff here. So, excuse me, I'll just move over here. The school was run by the Mary McKillop sisters, the sisters of St Joseph, the Brown Joeys, who eventually sent across some of their nuns. Poor women, they turned up for the beginning of school wearing all the clothing of the poor lady in the back corner. I tell you what, if they were ever trained by body, I'd be trained if I was wearing all that stuff. They were remarkable women. Now, it was serge of substance, yes, and meters and meters are very grateful for it. The problem was, the mothers had the money to build it. But that used up all their money. From then on, they had enough money to do any maintenance. So after it started out looking fantastic, it all started to fall down around them, and the monks didn't have any money to fix the broken windows or the hanging walls or whatever. So all that went on. The Marist brothers who ran the boys' school got so fed up they left, but the sisters here, they just hung in. They were amazing women. They were still here when I came in 1975, and I'm working on something. Now, one more thing I want to tell you about, I don't know.
Choosing something in English or something in Latin.
Don't care. No, he's on your too.
When you're chasing your wildest dream, as you follow whoever you're with, wherever you are. No matter how dark your night, or how tough and long your day, let love and kindness light up your way, let it light up your way.
Do you not want to see the picture?
Huge instruments on them.
This one's big for holding it up so that everybody can see. It's huge. Incredible.
Wow.
So just got to see all the plus.